Columbus legacy, the Irish. Overcoming bigotry.
Mercy Hospital Scranton is a 372-bed acute care facility serving more than 500,000 people in the Wyoming Valley of northeastern Pennsylvania. It is one of 6 Mercy hospitals operating in Pennsylvania today and one of nearly 100 nationwide. Together, Mercy hospitals are the second largest provider of health care in the nation, second only to the Veterans Administration. Mercy Hospital Scranton, like its counterparts across the state and country, was founded by the Religious Sisters of Mercy, an order of Roman Catholic sisters founded in Dublin, Ireland in 1831 by Miss Catherine Macaulay.
The Mercy Sisters were started because Catherine Macaulay had a passion for the poor. Her original group of women were called the Walking Nuns, and it was because her spirit was that wherever there were needs, there were Sisters of Mercy. So that would be the poor, the sick, the uneducated, the homeless, the hungry, and all people who were in any way of need.
The first Sisters of Mercy came to Pennsylvania and to America at the invitation of young Michael O'Connor, the first Bishop of Pittsburgh. Knowing that care of the sick was one of the sisters' primary works, he told them of the needs of the Irish in Pennsylvania, especially the need for a hospital. Mother Frances Ward and 6 other sisters arrived in 1843. After nursing the Irish poor in their own homes, they established the first Mercy Hospital in Pittsburgh in 1847. Within the next 100 years, this was followed by others in Philadelphia, Wilkes-Barre, Johnstown, and Scranton. Irish immigrants had suffered from centuries of poverty and oppression. Heavily persecuted by the Protestant English because of their Catholicism, the Irish were reduced to cottiers, renters of small plots of ground owned by English landlords. The potato was virtually their only food. English penal laws, dating back to 1691, denied Catholics all civil rights.
The early Irish that came to America came because of the penal code in Ireland, where they couldn't own land, they couldn't vote, they couldn't attend the university, they couldn't have a steeple on their church. They were penalized in every way.
Although the Irish had been coming to Pennsylvania in small but steady numbers since the late 18th century, it was the Potato Famine of 1845 which sent 1.5 million to America. The Irish were so dependent on the potato that its loss was catastrophic. More than 1 million died of starvation. To make matters worse, English landlords began evicting their Irish tenants in order to use their lands for pasture. With few skills and unfamiliar with urban life, the Irish arrived when the nation's industrialization was just beginning.
Once the Irish got to America, they performed a variety of type occupations, mainly at the entrance or the unskilled level. They worked on the canals, they helped to build our railroads, and then many of them came up here to northeastern Pennsylvania, where they worked in the anthracite coal mines. So they came from the green pastures of Ireland to a totally foreign socio-economic type employment, which was going down into the bowels of the earth to mine anthracite coal.
Daily life and work were not always safe, healthy, or pleasant for the Irish. They suffered from all kinds of medical and health problems, tuberculosis, smallpox, and cholera. Their infant mortality was the highest in the state. Accidents, especially in the mines and railroads, were common, often with fatal results.
Children also worked. Boys usually went to work at the colliery at age 8 before the child labor laws, either working in the breaker or working underground as a door boy or a mule tender. Girls often went to work when they were around 12 years old. They worked in the silk mills in the region or in cigar factories that were also fairly common in the area.
In addition to poor working and living conditions, Attitudes toward the Irish in Pennsylvania were often hostile. Anti-Irish, anti-Catholic feelings and prejudices were carried over from Europe.
When the Irish first came here, there were signs, help wanted, no Irish need apply. And other ethnic groups or Americans who had been here felt very threatened by these large waves of Irish immigrants who came, who could speak English, and who were willing to work for a cheaper wage and work hard too.
Many Americans consider the Irish to be a sub-race, incapable of learning or appreciating higher culture. The Irish stereotype, popular in the American press until after the Civil War, pictured the Irish men as ape-like, primitive, and lazy. Women were stereotyped as hard-working but tyrannical. Others saw the Irish Catholic as a major threat to democracy because of his alleged loyalty to the Pope. The fear of papal armies taking over America was very real. Discrimination against the Irish often took drastic forms. Many American hospitals refused to provide care to Catholics. Many schools would not enroll them. And during the anti-Irish riots in Philadelphia during the 1840s and 1850s, 30 people were killed, scores were injured, entire blocks of Irish homes were leveled, and 2 Catholic churches were burned to the ground. Through their nursing, religious sisterhoods like the Mercies did much to challenge the prevailing prejudices and stereotypes. During the Civil War, Sisters of Mercy from Pennsylvania were among the more than 600 Catholic sisters, most of them Irish or Irish American, who nursed the sick and wounded on both sides. In a very real way, the sisters of all orders helped to break down decades of anti-Catholic bigotry.
I don't think any immigrant group can prosper in this country without an unusually dedicated group of people urging and aiding them. And I think the church and the religious communities of women especially were the reason for that.
This is Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world.
Catherine Macaulay would say that her legacy is charity, is compassion for the poor. The way that we articulate that is that it's through compassionate service, through the dignity of every human person, and through excellence in service. Those are the values that are the way that we communicate the charism of mercy.
A copy of the program you've just seen can be purchased through Penn State Media Sales at mediasales.psu.edu or by calling 800-770-2111.